Hello everyone, good evening. Hope you had a nice weekend. So I've discovered a new platform today, and I think I'm gonna give that one a go. It's called HackSmarter, and they have some labs that say that you're allowed to do on stream. So how about we do that? I had a look, and I'm going to do the one called Cisco. I'll paste the link in the chat for their website anyway. So let's do. I have never used their platform, never connected to their VPN, so I have to do that now. I've set up a shortcut to connect, but I don't remember the name for it, so okay, so just client.vpn. Okay, let's connect to that VPN and see. I don't think I have a VPN address just yet. No, I do, but for some reason it's not showing there. Anyway, let's do Cisco, and we have an IP address. So the whole premise of this is basically it's an Active Directory environment. In theory, it should contain multiple machines. So let's see how this goes. Let's run the scan. We get an initial IP address. And we seem to be dealing with the domain controller based on the output here. So we have a website, we have Kerbrute, SMB, okay. Yeah, so we have a website. Let's start burp. Yeah, it's a domain controller. So dc01 cisco.local. Okay. We need to add that to our host file as well. Oh, and I need to remember to basically remove my Kerbrute configuration. We have that from an older box. Let me do that first so I don't forget about it. Right, let's edit the host file. Let's create a new group because this is not under Hack the Box. And then we have, oh, that the scan is still running. Okay. Oh, yeah, port 80, Apache, PHP. So that's going to be interesting. Let's do NXC SMB Cisco.local. Okay, we don't have access with the empty username guest. Okay, account is disabled. That's fine. So in that case, and since we have a website, let's navigate to that website and see what happened to my. Okay, never mind. So Cisco MSP, Apache, Windows Server, PHP 8.2.12. I think this is actually outdated, but we can have a look at that later. Let's see what functionality we get in here, and maybe even some well, we get some users. Yeah, let's copy that information and okay. I do have a tool. I think it's in opt somewhere. Okay. And that will actually generate a list of names for me. Loot. Let's do users and output it to so that what that does is generates combinations of known usernames based on the generated list. So, but we don't have anywhere to use that. We can try a password spraying, but I'm not going to go there just yet. I do want to enumerate the website a bit more before going there. So at the moment we're just doing some recon. Unable to load. Okay. So it's trying to load an email library, but it cannot. I'm just taking some notes as I go with this. In case we don't finish the box, or in case we need to redo some of the steps, we can always have the commands at hand. Okay, so the contact form doesn't work. These are outside websites. Oh, that's a problem. That's a problem in the template. Anyway. No, so this is just a standard template for a website. Nothing really to do here. But what we can do is use the directory brute force. Yeah, that's fine. Big. So I want to run for any PHP files. So we have assets, forms, licenses. Okay, that's a 403. Well, let's have a look at what Burp has in here. So that's forms, contacts. Let's check the JavaScript. Maybe there's something in there. Well, this seems like a standard, just template functionality. Yeah, nothing useful there. Those are standard JavaScript libraries that don't really interest us that much. Okay, so we're definitely working with XAMPP on the other end. That has phpMyAdmin and it returns 403 if you're not doing it from localhost. But what we can do is, oh, thank you for the follow. And welcome to the stream. Webalizer, PHP myadmin. That's not gonna work for us now. We might need to do another in forms. Maybe there's another form except contact. But let's see. Forms, contacts. I do want to change the request method. Yes, thank you. You've actually changed it from 69 to 70. Okay, so it fails even on a GET request. Nah, you're fine. Don't worry. I've actually taken a picture of that. I'm that childish. I've taken a picture of that. So. Right. So we don't have that form doesn't work. Let's leave that running. I want to run another one, but in the forms folder. So I'll post the link again. I found another platform today called HackSmarter, and it's the machine name or the lab name is called Cisco. So let me just. Yeah, I haven't heard of it. I think last week I've heard about it, and then I had a look today and signed up. The good part is they have labs, and apparently you're allowed to stream them, which is brilliant. Because for Hack the Box content, you cannot stream active labs, and I would love to be able to do a full lab. So that's ignore comments extension.php, but I want to do it in forms. So there's only contact there, which doesn't really help much. Yeah, so I stream this type of content Sundays, then Wednesday and Friday. I do 3 streams a week. There's also, I need to give out a shout out to someone, so give me just a second. I think she's actually streaming now. Let me find her name in Twitch. Give me just a second. There we go. She does cybersecurity content as well. So, why? Let's run a different list here. There's nothing that assets. I think assets is just yeah, it's just vendor stuff, which doesn't really help. Okay, so we don't have anything here for the moment. Service. Oh, Roundcube. That's interesting. And it's a 301. Right. We'll need to check that out. That's basically a webmail client. That's good. So we have that. Now, we still don't know which users are valid and which are not. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use netexec to try to brute force username and passwords with the same username and password. Because we already have the list with generated users, so let's do that. SMB generated, and I don't want to where's the option? No brute force. Because if you don't set the no brute force option, it will go through each user with each password and so on. I just want one-to-one matches. And we can probably close this one. At this point, we don't even know what format the user is taking. Is it just Sarah or first name, last name? I work in the industry. So I've been pentester, red teamer for the last 5 years or so now. Before that, I've done quite a bit in security, but from a development standpoint. So I used to be a developer, software engineer. are you thinking of switching to cyber as well? It's an interesting field to be in. Even with the AI that's all going around, it's still interesting. Cool. Well, there are some very good resources out there to start learning. There's Hack the Box, Try Hack Me, depending on your level. I wouldn't go to Hack the Box to start off with because it tends to be a bit more advanced if you're not doing the academy stuff. But that all depends on your level. Okay, so we want well, as I said, it all depends on your level of expertise and what you know how to do when you start that. Generally, if people want to start and they have no programming experience or no Linux experience, I would suggest you go. Okay, that's good. I haven't done Security Plus, but yeah, it's a good place to start, and you can always well, what I can tell you from my personal experience is, if you the way I learn, I need to learn by doing stuff. I cannot just read the material and I'll know it. No, I need to do it. I need to do it a few times to remember it, and I learn by via experience, not by reading. Not sure if that's you, but that's fine. It's absolutely fine to use the write-ups to learn. What I would say is try to struggle a bit before you go to the write-up, and try to do the easy boxes first, so you have somewhere to start with, and then you can advance with that. And if you get stuck somewhere, join the Discord or come on stream when I'm live, and you can always ask questions about anything. So so we need a DC, which is cisco.local. And we need generated usernames. Okay, so we found some valid usernames. So we at least now know that the username format is like that. Which helps. Actually, let's rename that to emails. And we do have Roundcube here, but we don't have a username and a password for Roundcube. But let's have a look. Yeah, we don't have a username or password for Roundcube. Okay, so login failed. Would not have expected that to work anyway. We can check to see if we can generate a ticket for one of these, and that's called asrep roasting, because we don't have anything else to go on, really. Let's have a look at the scans. No. No, there's nothing here. So, let's see. But I want LDAP. And let me generate a list of users. So we validated that these 3 users actually exist on the DC, so let's see. Users. What's the asrep roast? And then we need to specify we need password to be empty. Hashes. So we get the hash for Jack. Hello, Jack. So we should have here, there we go. If I remember correctly, this is, we can crack that with Hashcat. If I remember correctly, it's 13,100. Let's check. No. 18. Let's go back. So, Hashcat tech-m a0 hashes mount rocky. While that's running, I'm just gonna take some screenshots for the notes. One other thing that I would suggest you do is try to take very good notes when you're doing a machine. That will basically allow you to go back through all the steps and it actually cracks. Right, Music Man 1, and that goes into our and that is for jack Downland. Yeah, so the way I tend to do my notes, especially for the stream, is I use Obsidian, and this is the notes that I've already taken just for this machine. So, and I have a few other groups here, like foothold, lateral movement, privilege escalation, and I group them like that. And I usually copy the commands with everything that I run. Right, so now we have a username and a password. So let's see if it has access to any shares. So the username is that, password is musicman1. So at least we've confirmed that the password works for the DC. And we have sysvol. So those are the standard. Let's use, I think Spider Plus is called, to get all the files from there. Did I miss it? No, it's Spider Plus. Okay. So tech Spider Plus, and I want it to output into my loot folder. Or just output anywhere. Let's have a look. Yeah, some general policy. Nothing very interesting there. Let's have a look if we can actually access the email. Password reuse, or if this Roundcube is actually connected to AD itself. Okay, we have access to the email address. We have a new user. Oh no, we had it already. Okay. Well, there's a router config file. Okay. Let's take a screenshot of that, and then we're gonna download. Let's have a look. Oh. We have a secret for the router, but that doesn't help us much now. Hostname R2, okay. Well, but because we do have a username and a password, I want to run Bloodhound to collect all that information and see the Active Directory structure. So and see Python. Let's copy this command, and because we're going to need to change it to match our own. Let's save that as exploit commands. So it's going to be jack. Music band. Domain is cisco.local. DC cisco.local TCP, and I need the IP address. Right, so there we go. So 7 users, 52 groups, 2 GPOs, and 2 OUs. There we go. So we have all that data. Now we need to import it into Bloodhound. Documents. While that's running, I can do some more nodes. I need to see if this one works because the collector is a newer version than my Bloodhound, and I've installed the older version of Bloodhound today. If not, I'll just bring up the newer version because that I know it works. Let's do that in the meantime while that one's running. You don't necessarily need to write them down. I'll publish the write-up anyway. So there we go. You'll find the write-up there after the machine is done. And you can see previous machines as well that we've done on stream. Also, if you have any questions, happy to slow down and explain. Seems like the old Bloodhound does not want to process that. No problem. Let me try something else. Do I have... Because I think this one's the older version of the collector. So let's run that as well. Not the community edition one, the older version. Okay, so this is the collector that I need because this is for version 4.3 and that's the Bloodhound version that I have. So I need to clear finish. Where is it? Let's there we go. So using the write collector actually works as expected. Let's see, domain admins, just administrator. Who has DC sync rights? Administrator, enterprise admins, and DC. Okay. Okay, no Kerbrute users. Yeah, we already knew about Jack, which is fine. Any unconstrained delegation? Group policy creator, generic call, GPO link. Okay, oh. Thank you for the follow, HackSableSec. I think I saw you in a Flora stream a few minutes ago. The creds for what? So we have account operators here. Okay, so basically sysadmin. Okay. So I think one of our targets can be Mr. Greg here. But node info. Let's I forgot how to use Jack. Yeah, no path found. Not surprising, really. But let's mark him as owned because we have the password for this. Hey, yeah, we're trying a new platform today. I used to do just Hack the Box, but now I'm doing HackSmarter as well. I found a new platform, so giving it a go. well, yeah. Greg is basically sysadmin, so that's our target. That's administrator. Okay, so we don't really have much around here. Let's have a look at Jack again. Domain users. Are there any machine accounts in pre-Windows 2000? So the idea with the pre-Windows 2000, we've actually had this in a previous box. The machine account name is the same as the password. So if you have Cisco $ as the machine name, the password would just be Cisco. But no, I don't think we have any other machine accounts because there are no other computers on the domain. Let's put down the other Bloodhound because there's no point in it being... Yeah, it's... well... As the group name says, it's pre-2000. At that point, I don't think security was a very high concern for people. So we have Bloodhound, but let's move that to the new command that we've used, because we needed the legacy collector. There we go. It's fun. I wouldn't say necessarily it's the easiest, because you always have to learn and keep up to date. However, it's fun. Yeah. So we can send emails now because we have access to let's search for the user that he's sending emails to, Lainey. Systems engineer. Remote management. That's good. Remote desktop. Okay, so we need to somehow get to Lainey. Let's see. Can we get to from Jack? Come on. Okay. No path found there. So there's no path to Lainey, but we do know that our boy Jack here is sending emails with the configuration file. And yeah, Lainey has RDP access. Those are high-level groups, key admins, enterprise key admins, okay. Anything we have access over? Domain users. Right. Let me just take a picture of this because it's so in the router config file, we only have, where is it? So we have this secret here. Let's check the email exactly what was sent. So, it's asking Lainey to basically remote into a router, but it's a Cisco. Is this something that we can crack? Because it looks encrypted to me. That's new. So let's see. Those are too long. Okay. That's 30 characters long. Let's put that into a hash and try to crack it. I'm assuming that's 30 as well. No, that's 34. What am I missing? Alright. Let's see if Hashcat complains or not. So the mode is 500. Yeah, it's 500. No, you're not. You were right, because we don't really have anything. I was thinking maybe to try to fish Lainey or something along those lines. But let's see if this one works first, because you're right, we did get a secret in here which we haven't used yet. So, did I create the... Yeah, Cisco hash there. 500, A0. Yeah, exactly. So I'm either thinking if we cannot crack this hash and find another user or anything of that sort, I'm gonna try to send an email to Lainey with a different config file and maybe changing some of the IP addresses here to map to my own IP address. Maybe capture a hash with responder or something along those lines. So Hashcat accepted that hash. And what do you know? It actually cracked. Sorry, just taking some notes. Right, so we do have a password that's cracked. So what I am going to do is new file pass, put that in, and I want the credentials from here. I want Music Man. Right, NXC SMB pass users. And we have a password for Lainey. Yep. Okay, let's mark that as owned. Let's see what shares we have. Yeah, of course. I'm more than happy to accept suggestions. I'm not here to struggle alone. So we have read, but we do know that Lainey is in the remote management users. So is there WinRM available? No, WinRM is not available, but we have RDP. Okay. I can never remember the commands from X3RDP. So, yes. Server username. Actually, I forgot to add that to my credentials file. There we go. So lainey.moore with chocolate 1. Now let's not add the domain. Save and connect. And there we go. We actually have RDP access into the machine. And that's our user flag. No, where is it? There we go. That's the one I want. Right, so let's... We already know it's a Windows Server 2022, but we knew that already from our previous commands. So let's close that. Actually, we don't need that one either. Let me just post the user flag. And it's correct. Now, I don't like to do much via RDP, so what I am going to do is, what should I use? Let's use Adaptix. So, create HTTP. That's 10.239.254 port 80. That's fine. Cisco. Right, so we have a listener for our C2 framework here. Let's create an agent. exe, yeah, that's fine. Okay. So the pserv is basically just an alias for a Python web server. I have a few of those aliases set up just to make my life easier. So now in here, why is it? Why is it x86? That's weird. In any case, oh, I forgot my IP address. Wait, before I do any of that, give me a second. Okay, so it's an Amazon EC2 instance. At least we know that. Let me take a screenshot of that. Okay. I don't like the fact that that's an 86 terminal. I don't want to start my terminal in a 32-bit. So HTTP 10.200, that's 39.254, and there we go. Didn't it save? Nope. we go. And now we have access to lainey.moore via this, which provides us a lot more functionality than just the default terminal. So right, now, where were we? Let's have a look at the DC, the Bloodhound, because now we have access to Lainey. We can check if Lainey has a path to Greg, which we know he's a system admin, and apparently we do. Okay, but that's via the DC sync, which is not helpful. That does not help us in any way. Let's see. So SSH to the router with the credentials provided. Okay. Nope. Don't do that. Right. So we have the password in there, but I want to get it from here, so there we go. So netadmin and the password is that. But why do you... I think Adaptix might need some work done. Cisco Smarter 2025. Okay. Access, create tunnel. Listen. $22. So we've created a port forwarding so we can SSH to... Yeah, see you soon. So we've created a port forward so we can try to access that SSH from our local attacking machine. So let's try. We no longer need that. There should be port. Yeah, it's listening. Maybe that doesn't work. Well, the other thing we can do is create a SOCKS proxy. 1080, that's fine. SOCKS 5, 1080, okay. Maybe it's not actually allowing us to connect, or is the... Let's try it from here, see if this actually connects. or is just maybe just a red herring and we just needed the password and the netadmin user. Yeah, it's not connecting, so the port is actually okay. As expected, the port is not actually working, so that's useless. But we can use the password. Most probably we can use the password somewhere else. Let's save that in passwords. And we can do nxc smb. No, I don't want shares. Loot users tag p password. I just want to check to see if the password that we just found works for any other user. Something like Greg maybe. And there we go. As expected, the password works for Greg. So, let's see. Where is Mr. Gregory here? Mark user as own. Let's see what groups he's in. Can he RDP? Remote management, remote desktop. Okay, so we can actually RDP as Greg, but what I am going to try is run as user. So okay, let's do, first of all, I want to upload agent x64 exe Windows tasks. Okay, so now we've actually uploaded our agent there, and we can do run as user. Let's copy the password. I think that might need to be quoted. Missing argument command. Okay, we need a domain as well. Let's see if that... Okay, command fails. Not a problem. We can actually RDP. I was just trying to avoid connecting over RDP again, but it's fine. Okay, we need a command prompt. No, we don't have access to that. Oh no, because it's owned by Lainey. That's why we cannot execute it. Doesn't matter. We can download it again. And 239 254. And we should have, there we go. So now we actually have two users on the machine. We basically have Greg and Lainey. And we know that Greg is actually part of a few high-end groups. And even Bloodhound says that we have reachable high-value targets. So we can PS remote into the DC. We have quite a few different accesses here, but I want to see, are we part of the main admins? Group policy creator, domain users, authenticated users, everyone. Okay, so we're not actually part of that, but let's have a snoop around and see what privileges we have available. We can run seatbelt as well. That's a binary for enumeration. Oh, where is that? There we go. Execute assembly. Group all. Now let's see. Let's check the output of seatbelt. So there are some DP API credentials in there that we will need to extract if there's anything used or saved. But since we already have the password for Greg, not sure if it's going to be useful or not. We've seen HMail server as the application there. Some tasks. Is WinRM running on this server? I don't see it on the scans. Normally it is, but let me just check. Because if it is, then I'm just gonna slap myself because I've been using RDP like a bloody idiot. Okay, so my Nmap scan initially failed for WinRM. Amazing. Why? Anyway. Let's move past the tasks. We have the password, we're not interested in the hash. Yeah, so it is listening for remote management, but for some reason when we ran the initial Nmap scan, this port didn't come up. That's interesting. Maybe the machine didn't fully boot when we ran the scan. Okay, let's have a look here. So we are a member of group policy, which basically allows us to generic all, default policy, where is it? So abuse info, not this one, but the generic all here. We can abuse this one. So pyGPOAbuse, basically we can write to the GPO, either create a service, a scheduled task, or add ourselves to a group, or anything of that sort, which will make us, which will run as a system. We've actually done this previously on a box, so let me just open that note. And we need the default policy ID, which is this one. Yeah, we need that ID. So let's go to our commands history. So that's a previous command that we've ran on a different machine to basically set up a scheduled task. So what we need to do is Cisco.local. Where's my username and password? That's Greg. And the password is that bit. So that's my GPO ID, which is the default one. Tasks. Actually, yeah, we do have the agent in there. Let's just hope that works. So let's see. We can run it from here. Actually, where do I have? It should be in local scripts, if I remember correctly. Yep. Virtual environment, yes. Source, there we go. Because we need all the requirements to be there. And now we can actually run pyGPOAbuse, and we will need to run GP update. Okay, so it created the scheduled tasks, and now we can do GP update. force. Computer policy update successfully, and we should have a system beacon on the server. Right, let me just take some notes and then we can go through it again if right. So we have this. Let's get the root flag. I'm assuming we're going to be in system 32. Yeah. Users. And there we go. We have the root flag here. And let's paste it. And there we go. We've completed Cisco from HackSmarter. Not a bad machine. I hope they have other labs with more machines included so we can do them on stream. But this was quite interesting. It's a fairly realistic scenario, I would say. But yeah, it's a nice change, and the platform seems to be stable enough. Let's do just a who am I so I can take a screenshot of that for the notes. There we go. Any questions or anything about what we've done? As always, happy to have a chat on Discord or anywhere else where you can find me. You'll find the write-up for the box on my website, and I will be uploading the VOD to YouTube as well. Let's see if we can find someone to raid. Let's do Cyborg, as I do follow her streams and she does hack the box and try hack me content as well. So thank you for watching. Hope you had a good time, and see you on Wednesday.